Do you know what? It's quite nice to sort of get to know sort of like the fighters. I'm sure like a lot of your people that you know and stuff know who you are, but for people that don't sort of kind of well, this is their first time like seeing you and what have you, it'd be nice just to sort of get a bit of background about you sort of thing. So should we start sort of where how boxing how you got introduced to boxing and you're like sort
Yeah.
of like early memories of that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, I started boxing when I was about 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Um, my younger brother, he started boxing first. We both done a bit of karate when we was about 5.
Okay.
So we went from karate to the boxing. Um, Obviously my brother was doing it. I see he was getting good at it. So as the older brother, you want to be the role model. So I started doing it. Um, it went from my dad enjoying it so much that my dad opened a gym. We started boxing in his gym. Then a year or two later, we ended up going to Guildford, and we went from Guildford from about I was 8, 7, 8 till about 14. I stopped boxing for a couple of years. Come back 16, 17, entered the youth championships, picked up a bronze medal, and then I decided it was my time to turn over to the pro scenes. I didn't really like the amateur style.
Oh, really? Because you mentioned about Guildford, so Guildford City Boxing Club.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
so you know Ben and all the guys down there, Ben
Mm.
Randall,
Yeah,
Johnny Edwards.
Ben was my coach. Johnny Edwards was my coach. They're great guys. Um, Half my boxing knowledge wouldn't be here without them guys.
Yeah, I actually do a film a lot of their amateur shows. Great
Yeah,
fun.
I think you filmed some of my brother's stuff. Multiple of my brothers actually. I come from
Is
a
it?
big family. Siblings. I got 13, so big
Oh,
family.
so is he still training there as well with your brother?
No, my dad's currently opened up a new amateur club in Portsmouth, Artful Dodgers Boxing Academy, and all my siblings and myself train out of that gym.
Nice, nice, nice. It's nice to sort of. I think boxing's sort of like quite a small community, really, isn't it? That you know, a lot of coaches and fighters sort of kind of know each other or sparred with each other, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's a small community, but it's also massive. It's crazy.
Yeah. So just going back a little bit, you mentioned about your sort of the amateur team. So why do you think that you wanted to turn pro, like sort of quite young, rather than stay in the
Mm.
amateurs and see that out?
Well, to be honest, it's my type of style of boxing as well. I like my style's different to most. It's I can box, I can brawl, I can give the fight, I can box on the back foot. And to be honest, that style didn't mix well with the amateur style of boxing and their scoring system, stuff like that. There was many fights where I've had multiple people come to me, you won that, you won that. Fights I thought I should have won, and even opposition thought I won, and I've come away on the wrong end of the decision. So after that, after last season, or it's probably a couple seasons ago now, I turned pro last November. I boxed. Yeah, it's been about a year since I last boxed amateur now. Um, we, me and my dad had a word. I said, Dad, I want to turn over. I think I'll suit it more. And I'm happy we didn't look past it, to be honest, because I wouldn't be here today talking to you, explaining how we're going to take the 2-0 the weekend.
Yes, I was going to ask you that. Like, how your decision to sort of kind of come and turn pro? Like, did you know? Obviously, you're going to speak to your family and what have you, and you know, your dad. But like, was there any sort of reservation about like maybe just give it another year or two in the amateurs, or was it everyone on board with your decision to turn pro?
Since young, everyone's always said, "Oh, you'll be world champion. You've got levels above people. You're this, you're that. You'll be crazy as a pro. You'll be class." Um, I feel like obviously I took 3.5 years out the ring as an amateur. Come back straight away in my first season. I didn't have no tune-up fight. I went straight into the nationals, won the Southern Counties by second round knockout. Um, then boxed in the semi-finals. I thought I'd done enough. It didn't go my way. Picked up the bronze, and then obviously like I said, just thought, you know what, this type of boxing isn't for me. I want to push on to the best things for myself, and I feel like that's the best thing we've done.
Nice, nice. Just going back to your amateur, can you recall like your first amateur fight and how you felt about having it?
Yeah, funny enough, my first amateur fight was at Tolworth Recreational Centre where I had
Oh,
my professional debut. Um, that fight was, it makes me laugh thinking back to it. I'm a southpaw boxer, as you would have seen the weekend. I went into that fight. I come out orthodox and boxed the whole fight orthodox. It was probably the worst fight I've probably ever had, but it's amateurs learning curves. So I was young, um, boxed out fight. I think I lost my first two, to be honest, and then I flipped it around onto a good run of wins, and then obviously a couple losses, obviously in the nationals. Then obviously a few decisions which I didn't like, also in the nationals. Um, then I took. Then it was just fighting for wanting to fight, not really for the love of it. I was in and out of the gym with it, so I was wanting to do the fights, but not willing to do the training. Obviously, being young, like I say, I was probably 14, 13, 14 when I stopped for that big break. So then, obviously, you grow of age. Everyone around you starts going their own different ways, and I just went back to the thing I knew best at. Obviously, finish school. Um, Everyone else doing what they wanted to do. I thought, what's the best thing I'm at? And my dad see me in the gym. He said, come down to a boxing gym. My younger brother Ollie just had his England call up. So again, seeing my younger brother do big things, being the big brother, you want to be the role model. So we flipped that around, got in the gym, and then we heard the nationals were coming up. I said, get my card redone. We'll go straight in, and we done it.
You mentioned that you had a couple of losses, like when you first started. Did at any
Mm.
point you were like, I don't know if this is for me, because those decisions can sort of have that effect, can't
Uh, Yeah, it obviously the first one was like I say, that was obviously my own fault. I went in box complete. I was when you're young, you want the scrap. So I went in orthodox, just windmills, windmills. Your first few fights as a young kid, you just want to get in there and show what you got. Obviously, then when the skill starts progressing, it's a different game. Um, we obviously know that now. Complete different style of boxing, complete game changing really. Um, as a young kid with them losses, there's a few where you know what, I've lost to the better man here, and then obviously the few which didn't go my way, which I feel should off, others feel I should off. They're very, it's hard to take on the chest. So there's times I've said, you know what, after that I want to sit back, sit back. But with this game, it's a love for the sport. You try to break away from it, you can't. So it's one of them.
you? Yeah, the amateur side is a funny one because obviously I've done quite a few events. I've seen some fight. And listen,
Hmm.
I'm no judge, trained judge, but there's a lot of fights that you think, and same with the pros, how it's gone a certain sort of kind of way. And I think I feel more for especially the kids because they're still like learning, they're still growing, and when the sort of decision goes against you, it's obviously quite hard to take. But yourself, you just sort of stay motivated and continue to sort of like learn your trade and what have you. I mean, who was there any standout boxers that you thought that you were like, yeah, this guy's mustard.
Um, I can't really remember many names as the amateur because most things I've done as the amateurs was obviously younger,
Mm.
obviously turning pro straight away after last year's nationals. Um, the boy I lost to obviously went on to win the gold in the nationals. I can't really remember his name off the top of my head. I can't remember his name. Standout names. I can't off the top
No,
of my
no,
head. I can't say
that's
no
fine.
names. No. But
Obviously, as well, amateur, you're boxing, so you want to
yeah,
regular
yeah, yeah.
fights. But you mentioned that you had a stoppage as well, because again, stoppage is sort of kind of it's rarer than in the amateurs, isn't it? Than the
Yeah,
pros.
yeah, yeah.
And, was how did that sort of kind of make you feel? Did it, because like I said, you got the bigger gloves, you might be wearing a head guard and what have you. Stoppage must have sort of kind of given you a lot of confidence in sort of your power as well.
Yeah, so like I say, going back years, everyone's always said, obviously with the world champions words and stuff like that. Everyone's always said I'm very powerful. I'm very very strong for my weight, size, ability. I've always known I've had power. Obviously, the weekend I showed I can box as well. That's the one thing I've always knocked myself for. Not boxing, but my boxing ability. As an amateur, my footwork wasn't the best. I liked a bit of a tear up. So the weekend I showed I can box, showed my ability, showed the levels. Um, Obviously coming back that amateur fight where I stopped the boy in the Southern Counties finals. I took, like I say, I had the big break, come back, so 3.5 years out the ring, first fight back. I felt like I had a lot to prove for myself, not even everyone else, but obviously to do it for everyone else as well. Um, there was a lot of pressure going into that fight, to be honest, and from the first round straight away, I've just went in full focus, boxed. When I see the opportunity, I took it, landed a knockdown. Stuck to my boxing, didn't rush my work, let it go on to the second round, dropped him again, and then I give a big shot to give the final count, and the ref waved it off.
Yeah, just going back. Do you think as well, like that fight, that was probably like the most sort of not nervous you've been in for an amateur fight,
um,
coming back after a layoff?
yeah, no, nerves is never, it's never nerves. Like mentally, when I'm locked in, I'm locked in. My mind is just straight on the prize, straight on the object. When, like I say, pressure wise, I just felt like not nerves, but like I say, having to prove. If it went downhill, where would I go next? What would it be? Would that be me hanging the gloves back up? Would I go forwards, do another season? Would I do this? Would I do that? But once we once we got that win, it was a big ego boost. I thought straight away, I'm back in the mix. I'm back doing what I'm doing best, and we're ready to keep going forwards.
You mentioned about like you boxing at the Tolworth. Obviously, you had your sort of amateur fight there, and then your first pro fight. So talk to me about sort of kind of the whole turning pro, because a lot of people don't understand. It's not just, oh right, I'm going to turn pro. It's, you have to get your medicals and you have to sell tickets and try and get sponsorships. How was that sort of process? How did that make you feel? Was that a lot of stress on your side?
Not really stressed, to be honest. It went very smooth for me. Obviously, I had the idea. I've always wanted to go pro, so even when I wasn't boxing, I thought someday I'm going to come back to it. And as a kid, my childhood dream was to be a professional boxer, so that's off the bucket list. The other thing on the bucket list is British title, world titles, obviously stuff like that. We ticked off the first box now, and everything seems to be flowing. Later down the years, we'll be picking up the titles, obviously. Um, with like you say, sponsorships and stuff like that. I had a couple sponsors through my late part of the amateurs, like my last fight or two. Um, they're now with me as professionals as well. Shout out to them. That's Hampshire Groundworks and Servicing, S&O Properties. They're two of my main sponsors right now. I won't be doing half the things I do without them guys. I've obviously got more sponsors now. H&C Scaffolding, Revive Southsea, they aid my recovery massively. I've got my strength coach, Gary Jones at Lee Fitness, FH Heating and Plumbing, and yeah, I've already named the other two. Without them on my team, I wouldn't be where I am today. Obviously, financial wise, being able to live the boxer's lifestyle, because especially as a professional, you've got to live the life. You can't have fun out in the party. You can't go down, eat rubbish food. You've got to be locked in. You've got to focus, and you've got to live it to actually want to be where you want to be.
So it's nice that you name the sponsors. I always get like you guys to shout out the sponsors at the end, and kudos to them to supporting you. So you're boxing full time. You don't sort of do other things like work or anything like that.
No, I currently don't work. I stopped working back in. It was lead up, obviously, before this. Obviously, my debut just passed. I was meant to box back in December in Portsmouth. Would have been a good hometown fight. I've never boxed in Portsmouth in my whole life, so
Really?
it would have been, yeah, it would have been good to have my home crowd. Everything, big 8 week camp. It went all well. And day before it fell through, but it was a minor setback from the major comeback. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
And then obviously we've done three. This will obviously after this week it will be 3 camps back to back. So we'll have a little break and we'll be ready to go again as soon as.
I was going to ask you about that setback. I don't want to go into too much detail about the event and what have you, but the actual when you sort of kind of been training for your debut, had a decent
Hmm.
prep and then sort of cancellations. It must have been sort of kind of heartbreaking in a way because you're mentally, physically ready for that debut, and then
Yeah.
literally the day before, it's like, you know, how talk me how you sort of kind of got through that, and then persevered
To
to
be,
the next day.
it was definitely another big one to take on the chest. Obviously, I found out the day before um, most other people, like before it actually come out. So going to bed the night before, knowing I'm not going to wake up to that big fight, it was gutting. Went to bed. I couldn't really sleep, to be honest. I tried to go to sleep. I ended up I think I fell asleep at like 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep. It wasn't the best feeling. Obviously, I've worked my socks off for the big moment. Um, Obviously, in my head as well, I've always had, although I'm a pro boxer now, I have been for the last coming up a year now. Um, I'm not a pro boxer until I get that 1-0. Obviously, you make your mark. And for me, it felt like, oh, it's a big setback here. But we remained focused, stayed in the gym, stayed hungry. If anything, it put a bit more flame into me. I had probably a few days rest and then straight back in the gym. Well, I say a few days. When I say I rest, I still end up running and doing the stuff. My coach, my dad, everyone keeps telling me, you got to slow down, you got to slow down. But it's part of the game. I love it too much. There's too much energy in me for this game. So,
For your young age, you seem so mature. Like you just, you mentioned before about like you're dedicated. You don't like sort of like drink or eat crap and stuff like that.
hmm
You know, how how hard or easy is it for you to sort of like stay dedicated? Because like I said, you're such a young age. It's like if anything, you probably got the chance to sort of have a blowout at this age because you recover quicker. What makes you
hmm
sort of kind of dedicated?
um, I think it's being around the right people and seeing right from wrong. I've seen a few things growing up, so there were certain things I didn't want to follow. Um, Being around the right people, my daddy pushes me day in, day out. Obviously, him owning the gym and him being my main coach. Even when I come home and eat, like coming home and eat, if you had just your normal coach, you go home, your coach ain't there on your back. I'll come home. But that's like, I've even got my own fridge in my room, if you can see there. I'll
Yeah,
put a little fridge in my room. So my prep meals are in there every day. Come on, eat this, eat that. If I do sneak downstairs, you ain't having that. You're not having this. Obviously, you get the odd urge. The main one for me is like a little chocolate square bar before training for an extra little bit of energy kick. But to be honest, we swerve away from it. So, but don't really, temptations ain't really there for me. Like I say, as long as I'm focused. For me, if I'm locked in, I'm locked in.
I think that's such a mature way of thinking as well. Because I know you're just starting your boxing career, but who knows in 5, 10 fights time, and you're staying in shape, you might get a call late drop out for a British title or an English title,
Mm.
and you could sort of slot in there. I think that's the right mentality to have. But just going back a little bit on your debut at Tolworth a couple of weeks ago. Um, were you nervous beforehand, or was it more? I just need to get this one out of the way after what happened in December.
To be honest, like you say there, it was more of get this one out the way. Obviously, we knew the ring rust was starting to come up. Not ring rust as such. Like I say, I was inactive for a year. I didn't feel there was much ring rust there, but to actually be back in the fight, obviously I've had good sparring, but a spar's never the same as a fight. So to get that fight, get that 1-0 under the belt, that was the main focus. I showed I could box, showed my ability, showed a bit of a chin as well. There were certain shots where I didn't get my head off the line, where I wanted to test my chin. I know I shouldn't have. We've had our word, me and my coaches had our words about that, but again, that fight was 3 weights above my normal weight, so we tested the chin a little bit, and we know that's there. Especially in them 8-ounce gloves, it's complete different. But I enjoyed it. That's the main thing. I enjoyed it, and if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be going again this weekend.
So after you sort of kind of got that, got your hand raised? Was it like the relief? Is like, yeah, finally done it after these sort of kind of months of you know waiting around
To
for your
be
baby.
to be honest, reality didn't really hit me till the next day. Like I said, obviously childhood dreams and stuff. You you don't. I didn't really have the time to sit back myself and adjust on it. Like I've only just watched I've watched back the fight. Obviously, I've watched clips of it. I watched you release it the other day. But to actually sit back myself and watch it, obviously, I watched it with family the other day. I've sit back and watched it literally the hour before this interview. So sitting it back and watching, it's only just really hit me even this week. So I come out of the ring, obviously, had a little interview, had another little interview, all friends, family, supporters, new fans. I didn't to actually take my gloves off. It took me about 40 minutes to get my gloves off by the time everyone coming for photos and stuff like that. But it was good. It's good. I soaked it all up, enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to obviously carrying on.
Yeah, you had a lot of support there. So I suppose, obviously, being a pro fighter on the small hall scene, it's all about sort of kind of ticket selling and stuff. Did that
Mm.
ever sort of like worry you that you're not going to be able to sell, say, X amount of tickets or get that support? Because it's quite, again, a lot of people don't realise it's quite actually stressful for you guys that on a smaller hall scene, because it's about selling tickets, trying to put yourself out there.
Yeah, so obviously I know obviously the ins and outs, obviously having to pay house fees, opponent fees, stuff like that. It's massive. Obviously, if you don't cover it, you could obviously if you've got the right people there, they can help towards it. But if not, you'll be at X expenses and obviously fall behind, which is a struggle, especially being young like myself. There's other young fighters I know who have to go through the struggle of it. Um, for me, I'm lucky. I've got a good support behind me, good following so far, and it's only going to continue to rise. I've got a good team around me who play their part, obviously sponsors and stuff. My following, like I say, with the following, it's where it's big, it's good. We took a good 40, 60 people up there, and a lot of my friends around my age, obviously, we just turned 18, 19, 20 now. So a lot of them booked the holiday off. So that wasn't even my big crowd. They're all away. Even for this one, they're not back till the end of the month, so they got to miss out on this one. But I believe there'll still be a decent following and crowd to this fight. Um, Hopefully, a homecoming would be big for me. It was going to be big back in December, um, but for a little away army on my pro debut, 40 to 60 tickets wasn't bad. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, that's good. Colin has said to me that you could easily sell out like the pier. I know your promoter Chris is,
Yeah, I believe so.
yeah, held many events there. Great venue, by the way. Um, so hopefully that down the line you can get your sort of kind of homecoming at Portsmouth. But you got your second pro fight this weekend. Do you want to just
Mhm.
elaborate on that, where it is, and
It's at the Bournemouth O2 Academy, obviously 22nd of June. Um, Straight back to business, obviously coming off the win the other day. We're going straight for two um, within 2 weeks. It's going to be a masterclass performance, and I'm ready to get in there and do the business.
do you know who your opponent is?
I don't really ever look into that. Same as last time, everyone kept saying, "Do you know your opponent? Do you know my opponent?" I was like, as long as I know Orthodox or Southpaw, I can work on that. I know my ability, so I work around. If I know that I obviously get the sparring for the Orthodox, sparring for the Southpaw, I can piece together. Like I say, I'm an all-round fighter, so I can piece together what I got to piece together. If you look too deep into it, it can add extra stress onto certain people. Not that it would add stress on me, because like I say, when I'm in that mode, I'm in that mode. But you have a management team for a reason. They do all that work. For me, I'm the fighter. I get in, I do my business. As long as we both leave the ring healthy and return home safe to our family, it's happy days.
Do you think you'll always be like that with your opponent, as in you're not like sort of go back and look at them, or do you think as you progress in the ranks and the opponents get, I'd say, slightly more either well known or more 50-50 fights, should we say, competitive fights, I should say actually. Do you think you'll start then looking at sort of opponents, especially maybe when you get to that, say, Southern area English sort of kind of at British title level?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I never overlook an opponent. I always know it's a dangerous game in there. There's only one winner as well, so you're both coming for something you both want. Um, I never overlook. But with my mentality and my ability, my self belief, I just like I say, if I'm in that mode and I know it's me who's gonna win. It's just me in that mode. So there's no there's no backtrack. If I have a self doubt, straight away, that's a bit of a losing mindset. And for me, if you've got that losing mindset, you're not straight. Your head's not straight. You're not locked in. So not that I've ever had it yet. If I do ever have it, that's a kick in the backside to say focus, carry on, push. So maybe later down the line, but for now, I believe with my mindset I've got, it's only going to get bigger as well. So um, bigger and stronger. So I believe we'll do well.
Everyone's different, and that's what makes the sport special. Sort of different mentality to everyone. So you mentioned obviously being in like sort of training camp since pre December, and you got your first couple of fights now. So
October, yeah.
yeah, so like this year, how do you ideally, or in an ideal world, how many fights would you like altogether this year?
We'd probably end up by the end of the year. We'd probably finish up. We'd definitely be 3, maybe 4. If it's a push, maybe 5. Obviously, sit back with the team, see what they want to think. My body definitely needs a rest after this one. Obviously, 3 counts back to back, especially at a young age. Although I'm young and I recharge quick, everyone's human at the end of the day. It will take a toll if you push too much too early. Obviously, I'm still growing as well. 19 years old. I won't stop growing till 24, 25. So I need my body to obviously achieve its most, especially through these growing and learning fights as well. So um, I, I'll probably have a week off. For me, ideally, after the fights, I only want a day off because I love the gym so much. Even on my rest day after the fight, I had a bit of rubbish food, but I still ended up doing a quick 3 miler, chilled out after. But I'll probably still be in the gym all week, helping out with the younger generation. Obviously, with my dad down the gym, helping out coach and stuff like that. But an actual break, I'll probably just chill out. I was looking at a holiday and stuff, but I don't know what's planned yet. So after the fight, we'll sit back and then see what's next.
It's very refreshing to hear. Like you're very for such a young age. You're very sort of kind of sensible. And again, what you said about having the right people around you, because you could easily
Mm,
overtrain or do too much, but you just need to sort of stay grounded and find that middle ground of
mm.
looking after yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Um, you mentioned briefly about like your studies and what have you. So one thing I always like to ask is if the boxing doesn't work out, people get injuries or things happen. Do you have a contingency plan that, let's say, worst case scenario, if something did happen, do you have a plan in place that you could fall back on?
Yeah, like I say, obviously with my sponsors, obviously my main sponsor, Hampshire Groundworks and Surfacing, I was working with them for a good year and a bit before obviously saying I'm gonna have to step back for my debut and stuff like that. If boxing didn't work, I'd probably end up going back to the groundworks. Good income, good people, good energy. So like I say, the team I surround myself, they're still in my team now. If they wasn't good people, I wouldn't have them in the team. So it's a good energy, good vibes. Obviously, I'm happy I've brought them people into the boxing world with me. But I believe if I knuckle down, stay how I am, stay level headed, don't ever get greedy, focus, I'll get to the top level. I believe it. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't be in the game, especially as a professional. It's a dangerous game.
Totally, you need to have that mentality of getting to the top. That's what you're in it for. You're in it for
Mm.
to be the best and hopefully get some financial reward out of it.
Yeah, hopefully.
You've seen all the sort of like boxing that's going ahead. It seems to be sort of kind of booming at the moment, and who knows,
Mm.
one day you might get that Saudi payday. That would be
Hopefully, that Saudi payday be nice.
so. Obviously, you're hopefully going to have a nice long career after boxing. Do you think you're sort of following your dad's footsteps and work in a gym, maybe training fighters, or become a manager or anything like that?
100%. I'm currently doing it now. I have been since I was 18. Helping out the younger generation is definitely good to see. Obviously, growing up, I've seen coaches like now, for example, Casey Kindon, he's at Guildford from when I was 7 years old. Him doing my corner the other day was massive flashbacks and memories, even warming up. We're talking about memories we've had done and the new memories now and how that's going to carry on going. So there's that bond with a coach is a crazy feeling. It's good. Seeing what rubs off my shoulders onto the younger generation as well. I also help out with we do a SEND class in our gym for special educational needs. A lot seeing your positive impact on them is very pleasing as well. It's good. It's good.
It's nice to hear that because again, people don't realise the amateur scene, especially, is everyone volunteers.
Yeah, it's all voluntary work. We don't take a penny.
Exactly, and the amount of work and effort that goes in, it's kudos to everyone that's involved in the amateur scene. It's so much hard work, and that's where the stars are made, though, isn't it?
100%, 100%.
Well, listen, it's been really good to sort of kind of talk to you. I could talk for ages, but it's
Yeah,
I know you sort of you probably want stuff to do and stuff, but I think what would be quite nice is we'll catch up after your
100%.
and maybe come down to your gym sometime and do something. That'd be really cool. But you mentioned your sponsors, which is great. Do you want to shout out all your social medias of how people can follow you and hopefully or get tickets from you for your fight?
So my main social media for my boxing is my Instagram. That is Tyler JAE-WELLS 7. I also use Facebook, which would obviously be my name, Tyler JAE-WELLS. I've just started up on Twitter. I believe it will probably be under the same username as my Instagram, which would be Tyler JAE-WELLS 7. What else do I use? I use Snapchat, but that's a new account, so I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I don't know the username. We'll probably get that in the next interview. Yeah, for my boxing side of things, they're mainly all my social medias, and obviously the new Threads, which is like an Instagram, Twitter.
Well, I'll link the Instagram in the description. I'll put it
Perfect.
and notes on the screen as well. But yeah, it's been awesome chatting to you, and obviously
Perfect.
best of luck for the fight on Saturday. And
Thank you.
yeah, let's sort of kind of link up when post fight, once you've had a bit of a rest and what have you.
Yeah, sounds awesome. Sounds awesome.
Cool. Listen, it's been brilliant speaking to you, and thanks for your time and stuff. And yeah,
You.
I think you're so down to earth, and I think you've got a good head on your shoulders, and it's sort of I feel not everyone's like that. You're such a young age, you're so mature. So kudos to you and your family to sort of kind of supporting you, and shout out to Hitchin Boxing and Colin as well for their sort of support.
Yeah, massive shout out to Chris Hitchens and Hitchens Boxing and Colin. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for them.
No, definitely. Well, listen, all the best, and